Okay, so believe it or not, at the end of this film, I'm actually going to make a point. Wait, let me think. Yeah, I think I'm going to make a point. So if you can survive till the end, you're doing something. Feel good about yourself. This film doesn't have a whole lot to do with photography, but it does include some props and some visual aids, which I think you might find interesting. But the gist of this film is the fact that I am not cool and that I have never been cool my entire life. I think sometimes when you go on YouTube, if you have any kind of following at all, it can be deceptive. It can make not only the YouTuber feel like they're a little cooler than they are, but they can also make the audience feel like the YouTuber is cooler than they actually are. And the reason I did this film was, as many of you know, I have technology challenges that are at epic proportion. I am still trying to get a laptop. I'm not sure if my employer is going to come through with that. They are. They try to give me an old one. I get it. It makes sense in some ways. But I was like, I need to get a laptop. So I'm looking around. And I go out there and I find this YouTube film about a guy I've never seen before, never met him, don't know anything about him, don't know anything about his channel. And it's basically a film about kind of his day with this computer and how he uses it and how the computer responds. And I'm like, I don't know this guy, but he's got a cool haircut. He's got a dye job. He's got clothes. And the thing is, this film, within about 30 seconds into it, I realize is just basically a long stream of product placement. It's not that he's not doing stuff, and it's not that he's not working, although his work looks a lot different than mine. He's got a specific bicycle that I'm pretty sure was given to him. He's got a car that's given to him. There's a lot of hanging out, a lot of doing email and that kind of stuff, but also doing a little bit of editing. The point is, he does like an outfit change. A major car brand has given him this car for the shoot. So, and I'm like, I don't know, I still don't to this day, after seeing this film, know exactly what he does for a living, but it doesn't matter. Because I looked at him and he seems like an insanely nice guy. And I'm like, that guy's cool. Because clearly he's got an audience. I don't know how many followers or subscribers he had. My guess is exponentially more than I will ever have. He's doing something right, at least in the sense of building up a community, and whatever he's doing for a living, he's being able to do it, and that seems pretty cool too. But I'm like, that guy's probably considered cool. And by the way, if you ever catch me doing an outfit change in the middle of a shoot, you have permission to come and call in an airstrike on my van, because that will never happen. And secondarily, I would be changing from one t-shirt to another t-shirt, so it doesn't really make that much sense. I don't have any cool clothes. I'm getting ahead of myself. We'll get to that. Let's go back in time. Rural Indiana, early 1970s, and I'm talking a swamp town. My father owned a swamp, okay? Now, he had another job, like a legitimate job, but my dad owned a swamp, and I think that should set the bar for you understanding who I am and where I actually came from. We thought this was the coolest thing in the world. Wow, your dad owns a swamp. That tells you where the bar is. So, I'm not cool. Go back to elementary school, small town, rural Indiana. My mother, to save money, would hand make our clothing. So picture this, like the fashion statement of the day in rural Indiana in elementary school was overalls. And not in an ironic sense, like modern hipsters who wear overalls and for God knows what reason, and it's somehow cool. This was because kids legitimately wore overalls at home. Pigs, chickens, dirt floors, that kind of thing. You get my point. Kids with extra fingers on their hands, and no, I'm not joking. So my mom would hand make our clothing. Now you would think, let's play it safe. Can you rip off Toughskins and make something like that? No, my mom would make bell-bottom pants and then acid wash the skyline of a city around each leg and then draw in the buildings. And for stars, she would attach rhinestones to the pants. And I wore those to school. So think about that for a second. You've got a gang of overall-wearing Indiana rural kids, and Dano shows up in bell-bottoms with the skyline of a city etched in with rhinestones for stars. That wasn't even enough. The next pair she saddled me with, skin-tight, leather, low-rider bell-bottoms that had silver studs from my hip all the way to my ankle. I wore those too. So right now what you're getting is called a barometer of cool, and I was on this side of the spectrum, not this side, because in rural Indiana, just because my mom was eccentric and did this stuff for us, that was not considered cool. You did not make the jump to cool Lightspeed. You were considered an outcast. Let's go to middle school. Middle school, my outfit of choice was parachute pants, baggy parachute pants, Izod shirt with the collar up, and white high tops. That is a train wreck from any direction. I was not popular. I was not cool. My brother was popular and cool. My sister, I don't know exactly. I was not. I was an outcast. I was an outsider. I was on the fringes. I had friends that were dorks. I had friends that were geeks. I had friends that were jocks. I had friends that were heads. But I didn't belong to any of those groups. I was never picked first in sports, even though I was pretty decent at it. And when it came to playing football in PE class, I was kind of like the Ronnie Lott, not to blow my own horn, but I was putting hits on people in PE class, and I'm sure I've maimed a couple of people out there, so I feel pretty good about that. High school, horrible. High school, I went into this cowboy phase where I was wearing Wrangler jeans and Justin Roper boots and like rodeo shirts. Yes, I literally did this in high school. I had a mullet, which I still have my high school yearbook photo that I saved, and it's in a plastic evidence bag because it is a crime when you look at what this picture looks like. For some reason, a cowboy phase. And I'm living in the middle of San Antonio. It's not like this is, cowboy up country, even though Texas has parts that are cowboy up. This was not. This was a suburb of San Antonio, and there was no cowboy that I saw anywhere remotely close to the school. And of course, I was paranoid about my pants being too short, so I aired in the wrong direction, and my Wranglers were about 6 inches too long. They would bunch up. All the cool cowboy kids chewed Copenhagen in class and swallowed the spit. I couldn't do that. It made me sick. I didn't want to do it. I was never going to get on that cool train, ever. I was standing at the station with my thumb out and a ticket in the wrong direction. That has carried through to my entire life. I've never really fit in anywhere. Again, there's a point at the end of this if you endure it. But here's a couple of things that I want to talk about, because I was like, well, maybe I can bust out of my not cool category. So I went to the tennis club the other day. Went over there and I was like, who's up for a match? No takers. Actually, no, I didn't go to the tennis club. I just found that prop in my uncle's house and thought it was hilarious. But I did do something equally as bad. So I run. I pulled my calf in my left calf yesterday. I pulled a calf muscle, and I'm out of commission. It's going to be for a while. I can still ride, but my calf is definitely tweaked. And like an idiot, I thought maybe I can run through it, and kept running probably further than I should. And it's not like a little tweak. It's actually a pretty good pull. So normally when I run, I've never bought running clothes in my adult life. I run in whatever shorts I have and whatever shirts I have and whatever. But I've been making some horrendous decisions as of late. So before I leave on this trip, I decided to go and buy some running clothes. And I buy a pair of shorts. These shorts in particular. Now, as you might notice, these are dangerously short. I did not try them on in the store like an idiot. I just bought them. And I didn't put them on until I got here and I decided to go run. And then I put them on and I realized that I bought shorts to run in. My wife saw them, my uncle-in-law saw them, and started laughing hysterically. Not to mention, the shoes that I'm running in are this same color. So it almost looks like I color coordinated this, but it gets worse. I do a lot of cycling. My cycling shorts come down to just above my knee. So just above those shorts to where, my naughty bits start, between there and my short is a giant white section of leg. That is so white, it's green. So all of a sudden, I'm wearing these and they stop 6 inches above the tan line. So now it looks like I'm wearing white bands around the middle of my legs. And by the way, the sunglasses I wear when I'm running, same color. So now it looks like I color coordinated this whole thing. It's bad. It's not good. I'm starting to sweat. It is like a sweat lodge in this van right now. The humidity has found us. The point is, this is not a good look. I'm still not cool, even though like 2 days ago I might have had a notion, I might be cool. I might be getting dangerously close to being cool. I'm not, and that is evidence. Reasons why I'm not cool now. Number one, check out this footage. Just go ahead. I'm going to let you drink it in. Everybody talks about IBIS, in-body image stabilization, and 5 stops and 7 stops and hand-holding. I can't hand-hold anything. The only thing I could have ever shot this footage with that looked halfway usable would be an iPhone or a GoPro. There is no camera I have, and remember, I use multiple systems. There is no camera I have that I can remotely handhold. Everyone on YouTube seems to be making cinematic footage handheld, although 99.9% of it is slow motion, which tells me that they can't do it either. But in my head, I think they're probably cooler. They're probably more talented. They can. My footage is useless unless I have a tripod, and I hate tripods. So I think from now on, I'm going to use all of my camera systems for stills only, and I'm just going to shoot with the iPhone and the GoPro. I hate the GoPro, by the way. Never liked that camera. Number 2, I can't stand filming myself in front of anyone else. I wrote this down, by the way. I feel like an absolute tool. I don't like people looking at me, and I don't like being the center of attention. Holding a camera out like this in a crowd of people and filming myself, I can't do it. I can't. I've tried. I'm not cool. I can't do that. Cool people do it all day long in front of strangers and crowds of people, and they don't seem to bat an eye. I feel like an idiot because I never did that in my life and career. Everything with the camera was aimed at other people. That was the story. I was never the story. The story was in front of me, and the story was other people and other things and places that I was trying to explain. I can't do it. Number 3, I cannot dance. Cool people dance, and they dance well, and they own it, and they can dance to reggae, they can dance to ambient, house music, country music, whatever. I can't dance to any of them, no matter how inebriated I am. And I feel like the second I hit the dance floor, it doesn't matter how inebriated anyone else is, they suddenly get absolute clarity by looking over at me and saying, oh my God, that guy can't dance. It's horrible. My wife is an incredible dancer. She trashes me every single time by making promises that she won't go out on the dance floor alone, and then suddenly she's the first one on the dance floor, and then I have to go out and put on an exhibition that is just agonizing. Number 4, I detest small talk. This is getting worse. I used to be able to fake it. I would go to parties, I would go to gatherings, I would go to gallery openings, I'd go to museums, I'd go to industry events. Small talk. So, what have you been up to? Got any projects going on? I can't do it anymore. I can't. Cool people put on that mask and they can go into that environment and do it all day, every day. Cool people often are working an angle. I can't stand working an angle. And I cannot do small talk. It's at the point now where I think I'm going to start alienating people, not on purpose, but I'm alienating friends and family because I can't go through the motions anymore. Number 5, I don't like most adult parties. Most adult parties bore the living crap out of me. I think it's a bunch of people standing around, again, a lot of small talk, a lot of sipping wine, talking about NPR and that stuff. I can't do it. I don't care. I would much rather go to a biker bar and get into a brawl with 50 strangers because at least it would make me feel like I'm alive. So parties are really for cool people. They are, especially the high-end parties. Like I used to go to parties when I lived in LA. I would go up to the Hollywood Hills and go to these parties. It was all cool people. I would end up in the kitchen with the staff, sitting at a table like, doing Jaeger shots with the staff because I wasn't really cool enough to mingle with the crowd. And I'm not joking about that. And by the way, I lucked out in that kitchen with the staff having a couple of great conversations that really helped my career, believe it or not. Number 6, I like science. Yes, I'm kind of a science geek without the talent of knowing exactly what I'm talking about. But I'm fascinated by science, I'm fascinated by history, and that's kind of dorky. It is. In today's culture and society, it's dorky. Pop culture is way more popular and way more interesting to the vast majority of people my age and younger, and I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in science and history. Number 7, I know almost nothing about pop culture and what's considered cool. Pop culture to me is revolting. There's nothing about it I like, and there's very, very little about it I know because every time I bounce into it somewhere, I'm bored and turned off and I go the other way. I'm just not pop culture, what's hot, what's popular. This happens to me all the time. People will say, oh, you know about so-and-so or you heard about so-and-so? And I'm like, no idea who they're talking about. I don't know what happened. I feel like I'm out of the loop. I'm not cool. They are. I don't know. Number 8, I don't like popular places or things, and that includes restaurants, shops, clothes, and music. There is a hipster trail in Los Angeles. I think I've spoken to this before. It starts in Silver Lake. It goes to Palm Springs. It goes to Salvation Mountain. It goes to Slab City. It goes to Joshua Tree. It goes back to Silver Lake. I call that the hipster trail. Yes, I coined that. I will take credit for it. There are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hipsters on this pilgrimage every year. They stand in the exact same Instagram spots. They Instagram the exact same stuff. They comment on each other's posts. It's just horrendous, and it happens all the time. Santa Fe also has one of these. They have a loop and includes a bunch of physical locations, and it includes a couple of restaurants, and it includes a couple of institutions or organizations. I avoid all of them. I don't go to any of these places. If someone tells me, like I'm potentially will be in Paris in November. If someone said to me right now, oh, the hot restaurant is this, and the hot club is this, and the hot museum is this, I would never go to any of those because I don't like them and I'm not cool. And I feel like those are institutions for cool. Those are for people who are hip and trendy. And as you can see, I am neither hip nor trendy. Oh, this is good. Number 9, I read and I bird at the same time. I do. I sit on the back patio of this house reading with my binoculars and birding at the same time. I think it freaked my uncle-in-law out. He doesn't even come out in the morning anymore. He sits in the front in the sun where it's 1,000 degrees because I'm in the back because I'm that geeky. It's that bad. Hang on here, people. People are hitting me up on the old Discord because I'm so popular. Okay, number 10, I have no tattoos. Never once in my life, not once at any moment in time, did I ever consider ever getting a tattoo. Never. And it seems like everyone has tattoos. And I made a joke on my podcast last week. I'm going to organize a pre-crime unit like Minority Report for bad tattoos, where I see someone on the beach with a bad tattoo, a tribal thing or a random thing on their forearm, and I can red ball that out, and I basically form a pre-crime unit to go back in time and stop them from getting those tattoos. Everybody I know that's cool has a tattoo. I don't. I'm never going to have one. Number 11, I have no ambition to be famous, and I actually think it would be horrible. Because, and I've mentioned this in the past, back in the day, this is probably 20 years ago, I had a slight resemblance to someone who is a very famous movie star. And that put me in incredibly awkward situations, probably a half dozen times. At one point, I ran from a van load of people who thought I was this person. No joke, had to jump a fence, hide behind a tree at an abandoned building. And I thought it was my little taste of, holy cow, this is what it's like for that person all the time. I don't want anything to do with that. That sounds horrible to me because, again, I'm not somebody who's trying to be the center of attention. Okay, number 12. I'm 53, which means my cool potential is going down rapidly. Life is a pyramid, 50 in the middle. I'm on the backside, the slope. I'm trying not to gain too much speed and crash and burn. My cool factor will only go down. Number 13, I love to be alone. Yep. I could not talk to anyone for the foreseeable future, not see anyone for the foreseeable future, and I would be just fine. In fact, I'd be super happy. I'd be thrilled. I can't do it, but that's who I am. Number 14, my dream in life is to disappear. The fantasy I have is disappearing without injuring any of the people in my life. So like family, the disappearing aspect would be disappearing but simultaneously erasing my memory from everyone on Earth. So it was like I never existed, so there wouldn't be any sadness of me going away for those handful of people that might feel sadness. And then I would just disappear and I could just pop up somewhere else and I could totally start my life over. All right, last one. I know cool people. Wait a minute. No, I misphrased that. I know I'm not cool, so pretending like so many people I know isn't possible for me. It's true. I have quite a few friends who kind of pretend that they're cool. They dance and dabble, and they're kind of two people. They're one person in public and one person online, and then they're another person in their private life. I don't try to do that. I don't want to do that. I can't balance it. When I see it happen, it always reminds me of the book Devil in the White City, at the serial killer working the World's Fair at the turn of the century, who has a family on each side of the city, and he's building a kiln in his basement to kill people, and he's hiring a crew, and he has them build one aspect of the kiln, and then he fires them, and then he hires another one and fires them so that no one knows exactly what's happening down there, and he's living these two parallel lives, and a part of me is like, wow, he must have been super intelligent and sophisticated to manage that, but at the same time, he is a serial killer. So that's kind of hard to avoid, and that looks horrible on a resume. So I can't do it. Now, a couple of reasons, 4 reasons why I might potentially be cool in the future. Number 1, I have a motorcycle. I do. And in fact, the first day that I arrived in Maine, I was riding it around town. I saw someone I knew. I pulled up. I turned it off. He goes, man, you look cool. And I was like, but I'm not. So the motorcycle facade is kind of cool. People like it, but it is a Yamaha TW200. So it's not like, it's a strange bike. It's not like a Harley, it's not like a Ducati, it's not like something fancy. It's a basically unchanged since 86, Yamaha TW200 with a top speed of like 60, and that even then you're vibrating yourself off the bike. Number 2, I fly fish. River runs through it. For some reason, there's a weird romantic notion about fly fishing, so I do fly fishing, and I fly fished my entire life. I'm pretty decent at it too. I'm not crazy down the rabbit hole like a lot of fly fishermen are about every single conceivable detail, but it's there. It's there. I could pull from that well if I needed to. Number 3, I know cool people, but I'm still an outsider, and I most often would never be invited to those inner circles. And when I am invited, it's always because of someone else. It's not because of me. I'm always the second wheel, the third wheel, the fourth wheel. I'm never the main wheelman. I'm always like a tucked in at the last point, where right before the bouncer puts his arm down and decapitates everyone behind, I sneak in right under. That's me. Number 4, the massive economic collapse that's rumored to be on the way by the end of the year. That's going to make 2008 look like a, I don't know, a kiddie party. That might reestablish what cool is. Can you dig a latrine? Do you know how to hunt? Can you defend your compound? Those are skills I have. So maybe the economic collapse redefines cool. All right, the last thing I'm going to say, and this is the point of the whole thing. I'm going to read this before my battery dies. I'm telling you this because I sometimes think people get the wrong impression of me. It's true. YouTube popularity is not a good barometer for anything. Whatever you are, whoever you are, is just fine. Always think long play when you can. Luckily for us, many of us aren't cool. So there's a bunch of us out there who aren't cool. Geeks and dorks and dweebs and all that stuff. Many of the cool people from my past did not fare well in life. This is an interesting little wrinkle. I think back to my high school and college era. And again, I knew a lot of cool people. I could see them. I would be around them. I knew who was popular, who was cool, who was talented. A pretty serious, significant percentage of those people did not do well in life. They flamed out in incredible, dramatic fashion, which is not a good thing. It's horrible, and I don't know all the reasons for that, but I think that the popularity thing, maybe it was the precursor to social media mental health issues, is because that popularity warped their worldview, just as social media does now, and just why so many social media superstars end up with mental health issues. So maybe I've got that going for me, and I don't have to worry about that. But the point is, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter how you do it. Everybody is utterly and equally valid at exactly the same level. I think some people contribute to society a lot more than others, and I don't know if there's anything cooler than contributing to the collective of humanity than just oneself. And you know, YouTube is not about that. YouTube is not about providing something to the collective world. It's often about providing something to the creator. And so I think it's a fine line. It's a weird balance, but don't think I'm somebody that has it figured out. I don't have it figured out. Every day I get up, I have a to-do list, and I just look at it and I'm like, man, if I can do half of this stuff, it'll be a miracle. I make mistakes constantly. I do not refine myself to the level I need to improve my skills in a variety of different areas. I think it's natural. So again, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that I'm not cool, and that's okay, and give you some examples that I would have a really hard time running from. Get it? Running from? These things are so short. I mean, and when I run, the shirt that I wear, which of course is like lime green tank top, that does not help either. But I pull the shorts down as low as I can, and then I pull the shirt so the shirt is long, and it helps me run. So my shorts are too low to be running in, but it makes them look just a little bit longer than they actually are, because I just know when I come up over a hill and I'm running on the road and somebody's coming down the other way in their car, they're like, look at that guy. Look at that guy. Not in a good way. So, if you're not cool, doesn't matter. If you are cool, good on you, and I'll be back.